All right, welcome everybody. Today a customer dropped off this drawer where they drilled the hole in the wrong spot for the handle. So let me get showing you how you get this fixed up. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to take the handle off of it here. Anyway, what we have to do is the first thing you want to do with these things is you want to open them up. All right. So you take your little X-Acto knife here. Let me see if I can get you in a little closer too. Okay. So you want to open this grain up a little bit. You want to hide the fact that it's a hole. All right, that's your first little trick. See how I opened that up, butterflied it a little bit, kind of a teardrop, let it flake a little. That's really what you want. Same with this little dude here. He's small, but now we're just opening it up ever so slightly. Our human eye wants to see a circle. Okay, so now when I color that in, it'll kind of look, it'll be from here to into that zone there. All right. Okay, there you go. Now we're going to take a filler, and this is a 2-part epoxy wood filler, and you just mix it up. It's you slice off little pieces of it there and work that in. All right, once you get it all mixed up real well, now what you want to do is, a lot of times I'll roll it like this, like a toothpick kind of idea, and get it down in there as far as I can. As funny as that sounds, right? Like duh. But you want to press it up against the walls, you see? So it really bites in and sets to those inner walls. And this is a preliminary filler. We're not using this to actually make it all the way to the surface. It's going to shrink a little. They call it a non-shrinking filler, but you can only take that as far as it is. The bigger the valley is, the more it's going to actually show. So anyway, then we're going to do a burn-in on top of that. So stick around, we'll show you how that gets done. But anyway, that's the main fill. Work that off in there. Get it in real nice up against your side walls. Then take a razor blade and slice it off like this, you see? And you see how that is like that? Look at that. You don't have to wait for it to dry, guys, okay? Doesn't need to. Now, just lightly press it and press it into those corners and up against the sides. Now remember, I don't need it to be exactly perfectly level. I want it pretty level, but it doesn't need to be. I'm going to fill it again. So while that's setting up, I'm going to do the insides, because the insides is just as bad. All right, and before that sets up fully, flip over the other side. Make sure we didn't push it out. You want to do any final cleanups you have in your finish. Rub all that putty off the surface. You don't want that drying up on there for later. All right, there you go. First stage. Wahoo. Okay, now that your putty's all dried up, now we're going to do the burn-ins. So we use a burn-in knife. And this is basically like a soldering gun, but it's designed with a burn-in tip for it, and I'll show you how we actually do that. But once you get into this position, you want to make sure you're leveled off. And I usually start out with a 400 grit paper, tri-folded as this, and just get it to where it's level. You don't want to oversand these zones, but you want to make sure there's no high ridge, even where you cut it. And keep your repairs small. If that's a good thing just to keep in mind, you know. Here, let me turn on a little extra light too for on that. That might help out. So anyway, how you work on with these burn-in knives is now we're going to go over and you melt them off onto your stick like so. All right. I usually keep one of these in my hand, and I'm going to be doing with 3 different colors today, and we're going to start off with this one. You normally go with your background color, and you can tell if it's too hot by if it's smoking or not. And you want to heat your backfill up as well. You don't want to sit it on a cold surface. So I'm going to let this tip rest on that filler for just a second long so it can have a chance to heat up. Okay? Now I'm mixing in these 2 colors here. I'm going to try to keep this off camera and on camera. Just the lightest touch and just get it off of there. Let it heat up again. You know, I could have just dripped it and ran, All right. And now while this one's drying, I kind of got this table, tilted up here a little bit for you so you can get a better view. But you let that stuff dry, and you see how I pulled off that excess right there? Don't overwork this. So while it's still real soft, I'm going to peel that back off of there, right? And you're going to go in different directions. So you come in really with a light touch, and you flow it in that way, and you flow it down the opposite way, right? Remove any excess without actually hitting the mark. Now this gun is turned off right now. It's about time to turn it back on. This is a propane ignition and heat. It's called Solder It by Solder Pro 120 is which one this one is. Someday I'll have a link for it, probably in the bottom down there somewhere. So, hey, if you're watching this at a later time, maybe I do have one by now. But they're good. They're good knives. I've wore out many. I've seen their next generation and next generation. So anyway, there you go. All right. Now what you won't want to do is overheat this. Now see as I can turn that knife off again immediately, because I don't really want it to go too hot. I want it to just lightly kiss it. Now I'm taking the excess off again ahead of time. Okay. I'm giving it a chance to settle. I don't want to do this all in one swoop and think that it's not going to shrink, because it does as it cools. Okay, so as it sits there right now, it's about 95% level, right? And that's where I'm going to stop. The next I'll be doing with sandpaper, and we'll get right on to that. So thanks a lot, guys. Let's keep this going. Okay, now that we've let that kind of dry up there a little bit, now we can go back and again rub off any excess. Now you can push a little harder, and friction will start with the paper, and get as close as you can to your repair without touching it. Again, we're keeping this repair area as small as we can. Okay, so now with a little 400 and light pressure, once your sandpaper gets to clogging up, move it. Don't sit there and rub this stuff in, and it'll just transfer it over to the next side, and it's just buffing it out. See, it's already filled up. It takes less swipes that way, and you don't burn the excess finish that's beside it off. Okay, now that feels level to me. Now here's a good pro tip. Take your razor knife, right, and see how the wood actually has this little grains in there. Let's zoom you in here on that, right? So when we get these little grains of the wood, we want to put those, duplicate them again in our repair. You don't want to leave your repairs untextured if possible. Again, it helps with the eye. It helps move it over. When we color these in now, and now I'll take just a couple light passes to make sure I get those burrs off. And now we're going to color this stuff in. All right? Let me show you how we accomplish that here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to color these marks in, all right, and let it can blend in better with the background. I know I got to pull this off camera, but I put in a little lac over 50, which is like lacquer. And I'll show you how we mix these colors up. You see how this is an antique white, powdered aniline dyed powdered stain. And I'm mixing it with lacquer, and we're getting that tone, right? So now I'm going to add just a little yellow, and I'm going to put it up here in the top of the dish, okay? And so I have a blending spot, you see? So it's like I'm giving myself a palette, right? In a sense, right? I'm going to brighten that up a little bit. Okay. See how we're getting there already? Now, this is the kicker. That was a little heavy. Red is a powerful color. So look at that, bang. It's wanting to change immediately. So now I'm going to add just a little black up in the corner here. I can't see into my cups. Normally I do. So this is kind of hard. All right, now you see how I get those colors in there? Those are going to be the background colors of this repair. I'm just getting them pre-set up, all on one palette and ready to go. Okay, so first one will be this color right here that we've worked into this tone. All right, don't need that on here no more. Don't need to add marks. And this is stained. This is not designed to be paint. Okay. I'm doing this off camera, And notice I'm not putting it down in one fell swoop. I'm actually leaving room for these darker tones right here. And I'm going to pull some of that in and giving that just a sec to dry. Okay? Because we can't put all this on at one time. So we just lightly touches. And almost like I'm connecting these little grain lines to the ones beneath it. Right? So that's how we blend those in, like that. Okay, get our colors in, and this is drying on the palette, and it's getting thicker and thicker. Same on here. It's drying layer by layer, and now I'm adding in those fades. You see how you can skip it like that? That's how you do it. And I'll show you here in a second how we top coat this and lock these in. We're going to sand these just lightly, help break it in. So I'm starting to go a little on the dark side. You see, now I'm going to pull this in my brushes. Here, I'll show you about how it's going right now. Okay, and ever so slightly, pull back in our whites, and this will bleed it right away. I have to turn this to see different angles. I like to say I don't, but I got to look at it. Some things I can do on camera and others I can't. So there you go. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Didn't know you were going to be watching somebody color, huh? But that's just how we do it. I thought you tuned in to see how the pros do it. Well, this is how we do it. Take one little spot and, you just sit there and just keep freaking doing it. And if you don't like it, you know what you do? You'll wipe it off if you're fast enough. And look, keep turning it, look at it from different angles, tip it into different lights. And I'm not getting too critical right now because I'll get more picky as it gets closer. And I'll completely try to make this vanish from all angles. Normally it's going to be sitting like that, so it's not going to be like on top of a dining room table. And there's a handle sitting in front of it here that's going to be masking it as well. So all these things you take into consideration when you call it done. That's the idea, right? And sometimes you just look at it and you go, we're done. So stick around, guys. We'll let this dry up. I'll get into the finers of it. I'll sand that down. We'll get it spray lacquered a little bit over the top of that, and I'll show you how we blended now the top finishes. So, hey, that was fun. Keep it up. You guys, hope you learned something. You like and subscribe. I appreciate it all, So, hey, thanks a lot. Okay, now that we got that all dried up, let's take this to the next level, and we're going to sand this down and sand these color fillings just all the way down to where they're kind of level and see what color we have. Then we'll shoot over a little, this is kind of a dead flat or a flat lacquer. We'll spray that over the top just lightly to change the pigment color and get its true color out of that repair, and then we'll add some more color to it, and this is how we keep on doing that. So watch this. I'll zoom in on that for you and let you take a look at that. All right, so now with just a light touch, again, we're starting clean. You can start your sandpaper out like that. 2 layers is about as fine as I would go. This is actually 400. I'm going to switch over now to 600 if I can see it. All right, so this is 600. And again, I'm just lightly touching it, making it contact the surface. And as I said, this is going to help add texture as well, because we don't want a little shiny flat spot, but we don't want a hump. So with a light touch, we're still doing pretty good there. We're not clogging up our paper. I could even go 2 layers on this one because I do want it on such a light touch. I want to feel it. I want to feel if there's any imperfections and where they might be. And that's probably about good enough right there. All right. Just like that, ever so lightly. And now we take our lacquer and let me zoom out just a little for you. Okay. So anyway, what you want to do is practice your lacquer, right? Shoot it. We're not going to hit this like it's super wet. We're just trying to mist it. Okay? All right, and you see how that kind of changes that color off of it a little bit? You see that? Look at that look in there. right? Now we'll let that dry, and that's our true color. You can see it, how it shifted off. And now we'll go back again and we'll draw those eye accent colors in, just the finest of lines. So, hey, this is how we keep it going, you know. That's it. Thanks a lot. All right, so now we've got this lacquered up, and now that lacquer's dried up. And we're going to take a little 600 grit, and we're going to just lightly kiss it. Again, just to level it, because we're going to add in our second layer of colors now. These are all our background colors. Some look as they might look a little on the darker side, but they're still perfectly fine. Okay, so now that's level, and with the grain doesn't matter when you're dealing really in this light of a touch. And my repair area again is this small, and I don't want to take all my grain marks out. You know, remember all those marks that I carved in there? So what I'm doing now is I'm mixing up colors off screen here. You can see, like, if you was to see that, you'd go, that's too much. And you're right. So just a light tone of red. All right, here's our white to mute that out. Okay, now we're more in that color. And now we're going to kiss the black, and we're going to kiss it over here and bring that color in. You see, there we go. Whammo. All right. Almost. That's where this glass dish comes in handy. It's called I don't want to call it a petri dish. What the heck we call this thing? Tinting glass? Oh, it's a tinting glass. That's right. And you see how I keep using it around the side until I get to the color I want. And now I'm just going to tint that in. I'm still saying that's a little on the dark side. Let's go very lightly. I'm not sure about that one. Not sure about that one. All right, so if I look at this color palette, I'm saying that was a little on the light side, so I'm got to go in this darker tone. So I'm pulling that in until I get it. Very light touches. I need that background. I don't want to make a blob, right? I want the hairs of the brush to add hairs of color, right? And just enough to fool the eye. Where this is a drawer front, not a coffee table. And if it was a coffee table, I would take it to the next level. But this one, it's going to have a handle up next to it. It's got a lot going on in its lap. And dirty fingers are going to touch it real soon and all kinds of fun things. So you see how we got lines going down? Now I'm going to bring those in with these darker highlights. And I'm just re-wetting that just ever so slightly. So I have dark highlights. Okay? I know. Dermatologist says quit drawing on yourself. Nobody else will let me draw on them. Okay, so these are the joining lines now. Okay, see how we're joining that stuff together? That's what we're doing. And we're just making that off like that. And we're going to let that dry. There's no real reason to rush this out. I mean, if customers were coming over and you had like a freaking deadline, go for it. But if you don't. Let it go natural. Let it bleed into the next line. Create your own fade out. Don't be afraid to touch it. It helps mute things. There's mutes all over the place, right? So don't be afraid to dab like that. Change up. It's okay. All right, so let's let that dry. We'll see you here in a sec. Okay, now we got the color all down in there. We brushed that in and got it blended in pretty nicely. Now we're going to take a little lacquer and we're going to just spot spray it, right? When we spot spray this stuff, okay, this is like a tutorial. This is your mark here. This is your shot. When you spray your lacquer, it gives off a pattern, right? So you got to know your pattern and what it's shooting and how far away you want to be. You don't want to be sitting up close and shooting some stupid puddle like that. So you get back and you give it a little kiss like this, okay? So if you need to practice, and then you get to your spot, let it go. Now when that lets up, it'll dry down, and give that a second to dry, and that'll blend in real nice. Then we'll put a couple coats on, and we'll sand little light bits in between that. So that's how it's done right there. And then we'll blend all this in. So stick around, watch it happen. Now that we got that angle down, we got a little extra lacquer down on there now. And we're going to take a little 600 grit paper, right? And just with a light kiss now. We have color down, we have a little bit of lacquer, and now we can start leveling it off just ever so gently. All right? Just nice. Just kind of almost the weight of your finger is all that's necessary, right? And we're going to give that again another little kiss, just like that, and let that set up. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put another little top layer on there, just to giving it a little bit of just a little kiss. You got a little tone into it. Now we don't want to overflood this because this is a very matte finish right here, right? So we even shoot it from a little bit farther away and just give it a light kiss, right? So that's another layer. We got to build this up here quite a few shots. And after this one, I'll work that down a little bit, and then I'll show you how we blend the rest of that in. But that's how you do it. There's nothing to it when we do it. See? Isn't that a piece of cake? Okay, so now what we're going to do is we just got to buff this out and blend these two finishes back in. So we'll lightly go over it with a little 600, just like that, just enough to kiss it, right? And then with the lightest of touch, right, we'll come back in, and just like that, it's perfect. All right? So now with the handle sitting up into it, right, you would never know. It is gone. So anyway, today we're going to be doing this as well. This antique desk, we're cleaning it up right now and get that started. Why don't you just join us? We'll come on. We'll get this one started up on the next one. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you got something out of it. And we'll see you around.